Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are on Tuesday morning. Snack Shack opens today, so got to get some groceries done and all that sort of stuff today. God's been good, and man, the revelation's coming in and stuff, and wow, it's just beyond anything I can articulate right at this time. But I can articulate what we're looking at this morning in John chapter 7 and 8. And here we find Jesus. He's surrounded by just all this confusion and a lot of people who don't believe and people who believe and believing for the wrong reasons and all this sort of stuff all swirling around him. So as we open up the reading this morning, we see his brothers chiding him, really. They don't believe him at all. And they're giving him all this advice of what he should do, but it was a mockery because they just didn't believe what Jesus was claiming, even though they should be able to have seen it. So Jesus goes up to the festival in a secret way without them knowing, no fanfare, because he didn't want to draw crowds. He wanted to teach. He wanted for people to understand the kingdom of heaven was at hand. And we find here that the crowds are confused. The Pharisees are just haters. They're looking for him. Where is him? Why isn't he here? We expected him to be here, and they're looking for him because they're really looking for evidence, things that they can pin on him, not because they're his greatest fans. And we have the crowds being confused. We have the part of the crowd that's saying that he's a good man. They look at all that he's doing and they see his goodness. They see the goodness. They see the compassion. They see the mercy, the grace. And it's amazing that they supported him or they didn't hate him because they saw goodness in him, not because of the power. I find that very interesting. And then the others who were really cynical. Who knows what reason, but there's things in their life that had happened that made them cynics. And they said, no, it's basically they're saying nobody can be that good. It's got to be a trick. And so we see this teaching that's going on. Some of the people in the crowd believe, others don't. The sticking point seems to be the fact that they know who he is. They know where he comes from. And they don't approve of where he comes from. They don't understand his history. Nobody's asking questions. All they know is that he's from Galilee. They don't understand that that's not where he was born. They're saying that he would come from the line of David. They don't understand that he comes from the line of David. And they just see him as riffraff, because that's what came out of Galilee. Rebels, riffraff, the uneducated are all there. The Pharisees are amazed because they hear him teaching the law. And they admit he's an expert in the law. How could he have become an expert in the law when he hasn't been educated? But there's Jesus teaching with an authority that none of them had. So there's a lot of confusion that's going on. And because they know where he's from, they're saying he can't be the Christ. There's nothing in the word saying that they wouldn't know the Christ, that they wouldn't know where the Christ came from. And in the history of Israel is that God always raised up a hero in their midst. He's always raised up a leader in their midst. There was nobody ever parachuted in before. Everybody always knew who this person was. So why they had this mystic tradition that the Christ would just appear and he would have no root, who knows where that came from, but that's what they believed. And God gave Jesus a history. He gave him a history because that was the whole point. The whole point was it was a man who introduced sin to God's creation. And only a man could pay the penalty for that. So Jesus came as a man, was born as a man, raised as a man, lived as a man, ate as a man, walked as a man, was tempted as a man, faced everything, and as a man, he took on, even though he was the perfect man and there was no sin found in him, he took on the sin of the world, so that he could pay the whole penalty, the penalty for the whole thing, that sin would be removed from the world. It would be vanquished and destroyed. Isn't that amazing? And yet there's people who walk around who still identify as sinners. We can understand people who have not accepted Jesus Christ, who have not accepted this, who don't believe. And even though that sin isn't there anymore, they haven't received the gift that frees them from all of that. But it's there, it's done, it's theirs. All they have to do is believe. It's as simple as that. I don't know why we make it so complicated. But for those of us who have believed, then sin has been removed from us. There's no penalty. The guilt is gone. The past, present, future, all sin is removed from us. And we don't identify as sinners anymore. We identify as the children of God, the sons and daughters of God. And we still mess up, but Dad gets us to clean up those messes. And yeah, so Jesus had to come. He had to pay the penalty as a man. So he had to have a history. You know, he wasn't. He was fully God, fully man. But it was man. It was man who had to die on the cross. And that's we need to really emphasize that and make sure we understand that. So yeah, it's fantastic. But all the way through this, he's facing it. And he made it known to them that although he was born here, raised here, and would die here, his identity was found in the Father. He kept saying that. I come from the Father. I come from the Father. I come from the Father. I give you what I received from the Father. I do what I saw my Father do. I speak what my Father speaks. I represent him. If you know me, then you know the Father. It's as simple as that. His identity is the Father. Where do we identify? Do we identify as the children of God, or do we identify as a poor, struggling soul who is powerless and can't overcome sin, and this is all torturous and unfair of God, and blah, 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 blah? Man, get your identity right, people. Get your identity right. We are the children of God. We are the children of God. And as such, we have received authority and power over all the works of the enemy. Over all the works of the enemy. Not just for our benefit, but especially for the benefit of those who have not yet known Jesus Christ, who have not been set free, because his desire is that everybody is set free. So anyway, I could go on. You be blessed, be encouraged, be used by him today. Open yourself up, open your heart, open your mind, open yourself completely to him. He wants you fully healed. He wants to go after those lies that the enemy has buried deep in you. He wants you to be freed from those things so that you are free and available to him, so that he can invite you to the work. He can point things out to you that need to be done. Yeah, God is good. So be blessed and encouraged.